What's good, everyone? It's your boy Zach, and welcome back to Grailbound Gaming. In today's video, I definitely want to be just more casual because there's a particular topic that I want to discuss with you all that's been on my mind as of late, and that is, what is a video game grail? Like, how do you define that, right? How do you define what a video game grail is? Well, for those of us who are definitely in the hobby, and I'm talking with gamers, especially collectors, there are definitely some words that we can associate to what a video game grail is, such as rare, limited print or release, poor sales, and probably the most commonly used word to describe what a video game grail is, expensive, right? That's the word, expensive. And we're talking about not just hundreds of dollars, but we're also talking about up to thousands of dollars, right? That's the word that I have commonly seen used when, defining what a video game grail is. As a matter of fact, if you go on YouTube and just go to the search bar and type in Grail video game, my holy grail, holy grail video games, if you type all of those different search words, then you'll actually see videos just pop up. And honestly, probably 9.8 times out of 10, it's someone, sharing footage with you all about a particular game that they've been able to add into their collection, a very expensive game that they've either found at a garage sale or just happened to buy. And these games are definitely not only hundreds of dollars, but can also go up to thousands of dollars. So, with all that being said, I truly feel like we've been conditioned and influenced to believe that a video game grail is solely defined by its monetary value. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because not only, the fact that you can go and search on YouTube and find all those videos where people are showcasing their expensive holy grail for their collection, but, within the industry, there are limited print companies like Limited Run, Strictly Limited, I Am 8-Bit, Premium Edition. Like, all these companies have a business model where you are able to pre-order a specific game in a certain window, and then, once you pre-order that game, if you're able to, then you'll get it at a fair market value price. But let's just say that you missed that window, you don't pre-order it, and that game goes to the secondhand market, then all of a sudden that game increases in value 3 to even 4 times the original release price. And I've seen many examples of people, especially collectors, will seek after these games because they need it for their collection. They consider it to be a grail, whether modern or retro. So that's why I say that I feel like we only see and only define a video game grail solely as an expensive game. I truly believe that when it comes to defining what the grail is, it's not something that is simple, one-dimensional, or even homogeneous. It's actually multifaceted and more complex than a lot of us would like to admit. And here's an example, right? So a few days ago, I was on PeteDorr's channel. For those of you who are not familiar with who PeteDorr is, he's been on YouTube since 2006, right? So, when it comes to video game content on this platform, I consider him to be an OG and definitely one of the pioneers, for video game content on this platform. So anyhow, his latest video is him sharing his Hollywood Video PS2 rental collection. For those of you who did not grow up going to stores to, rent movies and video games, Hollywood Video was just another competitor to Blockbuster, right? So same situation. You go there if you want to rent video games for a specific period of time, as well as movies. So in his video, he's sharing how, one of the things that he kept secret about collecting were these Hollywood Video rental cases, specifically for PS2 games. And this was the first time that he shared that collection on camera. Now, for those of you who are wondering what a, Hollywood Video rental case looks like, I don't have that example, but I do have what the cover art looks like. And even in that video, he, lets you know, hey, this is what a Hollywood video rental case looks like. This is the cover art as well. So throughout the video, he even shares his thrill and excitement for even trying to find these Hollywood video rental cases for PS2 games online. So I have an example here, and even though this is not an actual Hollywood video rental case, because you can see, the slot here for the memory card, I'll say this, the cover art actually is from Hollywood Video. Now looking at this game on the front, this is a Genji Dawn of the Samurai. This looks like a normal PS2 game, right? It just looks normal. But then when you turn it on the side here, you can see that the font for the title of the game is not the same that's on the cover. There's no PlayStation 2 written out, but there is the PlayStation 2 logo. And then on the back, you can definitely tell the difference here, right? So at the top up here, we have the controls for the game. And then at the bottom here, there's like a synopsis of what the game is about. And in the lower corner here, you will see that it says Hollywood Entertainment Corporation, copyrighted 2006, right? So this is an official cover art specifically from Hollywood Video. And what I'll do is I'll easily compare that to the original cover art that came with the game. So there's the front again, and then look at the back, right? Completely different, right? Completely different back. The front looks a bit similar, but then when you flip it on the back once again, and even on the spine, you can see that there are differences that are there. So I wanted to point that out before I continue with the discussion, because he was sharing how excited he is to be able to collect these type of cases. And, even if they have their stickers on them, he just really loves the fact he's able to find it. So I'm bringing up his video as an example because during his video, he mentions that there was a particular case that he's been trying to hunt down for like over a year, and he finally found it. And it is a Hollywood video rental case for, his favorite video game of all time, which is a particular PS2 game. Now, this PS2 game, you can find it. It's very affordable. I believe it goes for like $15, $20 on like the high end. So it's a common game that you can find. It's not rare. It's not expensive. So he was able to finally find a Hollywood video rental case for this PS2 game. And in the video, he said, "This is a holy grail for my collection." And when I saw that, I was just like, that is exactly what I'm talking about. That is exactly what I'm talking about, because what we see so common in our hobby is people just saying, hey, this is my grail, because it's a very expensive game that they have been wanting to own for a while and add to their collection. But that's just one-dimensional when it comes to defining what a actual holy grail or video game grail is. It's more complex, as I stated before. Not only that, but whenever it comes down to a game being defined as a grail or holy grail, that does not necessarily mean that it is going to translate into providing a rewarding or unique experience for you when you do play. If you're not familiar with Haunting Ground, this is probably one of the well-known horror grails for the PlayStation 2, right? So any of my PS2 hardcore collectors out there, you know exactly what this game is. This is like one of 3 expensive horror games for the PlayStation 2. We hear about Rule of Rose, and we also hear about Kuon. Knowing what I know about this game, as well as Kuon and Rule of Rose, I would easily put this as being the better game, right? Like if we just compare Haunting Ground to, Rule of Rose, I've seen, reviews on YouTube with people saying that Rule of Rose is really not that great of a game. When it comes to the setting, amazing, right? When it comes to the, I guess a few of the characters, it's interesting, but it's not as good of a game because of the poor mechanics and all the backtracking that you have to do. But, when it comes down to Haunting Ground, we have interesting characters, interesting but also very sinister. The setting provides a very dark and unsettling atmosphere. So that's why people tend to usually put Haunting Ground over a game like Rule of Rose, right? And this is a $400 game. Rule of Rose is like a $700 game as we speak. But once again, people have a more rewarding and unique experience when it comes to Haunting Ground. So then let me just go a step further, right? Resident Evil 4. Resident Evil 4. A lot of us are definitely familiar with this game, if not all of us, right? When it comes to survival horror video games. And say for instance, we want to compare Resident Evil 4 to Haunting Ground, right? Say we want to compare the two to see which one would provide us with a more unique experience. I have to say, hands down, it would probably be Resident Evil 4, right? This is a staple when it comes to horror video games, and this is arguably one of the best survival horror video games of all time. You know, it's the reason why it's been, ported over to more modern consoles. It's the reason why we have the remake that's on PS5. It's because people understand that this game provides a unique and rewarding experience for them. And if you decide to get it on the PS2, this game is not expensive. This game is like $20 tops. You can maybe find it for 10 or 15 on the low end, but once again, it is not expensive. And in a lot of ways, many people, including myself, would consider this to be a grail, a video game grail, just because of the experience that it provides and the influence that it has had when it comes to survival horror video games. So when it comes to defining a video game grail, once again, it is something that is not simple. It is complex, it is multifaceted, because a video game grail doesn't have to be expensive. It could be cheap. It can also be a video game that provides you with a unique and rewarding experience to where, you'll have memories and feelings of nostalgia, joy, and excitement when you play it, when you find it out in the wild to add it to your collection, or even when you discover it in your collection, like rediscover it. So once again, I just want to, put this out there for you all just to think a little bit more about this, right? Like, break away from what you've normally seen in our hobby and understand that there is a different perspective out there when it comes to collecting and when it comes to defining what a video game grail is. And of course, I can't end this video without sharing what one of my PS2 holy grails or grails is, right? And that is Jak 2 for the PlayStation 2. This is pretty much my Grand Theft Auto, if you will. So I played this game when I was in middle school, and I know that Grand Theft Auto 3 was like a big hit. Kids were able to play it, even though they weren't, at the appropriate age to play it. Me, since, I wasn't at that appropriate age to play it, I had to settle for Jak 2. But ultimately, playing the very first game in the franchise, which I've shared that with you all, that the first game was my very first PS2 game. And going into this one, my mind was completely blown because of just the open world aspect of the game, interesting storyline, the fact that you were able to join a resistance group to take on the Baron of Haven City. Man, so amazing. And then there's also all these different, game modes and mechanics in the game, whether we're talking about a third-person shooter, a platformer, even racing, and also like hoverboarding, which is equivalent to skateboarding. In this game, all of those mechanics and gameplay types existed, and this is why I consider Jak 2 to be one of my grails for the PlayStation 2. And this game you can easily get for like $10, $15 on the high end. So yeah. So with that all being said, I know that I've shared a lot here, and I'm definitely interested to hear your thoughts about all this, especially when it comes to defining what a video game grail is. So if you have any comments or thoughts, I definitely encourage you to put those in the comment section. And also too, I will also put a link to PeteDorr's video. That way you can go check out his video and understand more and more of what I was talking about. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you on the next video. And until then, I'm out.